The devil in the drum, life and death on the Aisne. Forget what you know of war. Forget the sweeping charges and the clear lines on a map. Come with me to a different kind of hell. Come to the Chemin de Dames, the Lady's Path, a ridge that curls above the River Aisne. It sounds gentle, doesn't it? A place for aristocratic ladies to take the air. But in 1914, and for 4 long years after, it became a butcher's yard, and we were the meat. Our story doesn't begin with a bang, but with a seep. Water. Cold, relentless, trench water. You see, the ground here is chalk. When it's dry, it's a blinding white dust that coats your throat and your food. But when it rains, and it always rains, the chalk holds the water like a sponge. There is no drainage. You don't stand in mud, you wallow in a cold, grey porridge that sucks the boots from your feet and the warmth from your soul. But the water and the chalk are just the stage. The true horror, the devil himself, is in the sound. They call it the drum. Not the rattle of machine gun fire, not the crack of a sniper's rifle. This is something else. This is the Trommelfeuer, the Drumfire. It is the sound of the artillery barrage that never, ever ends. A constant, rolling, earth-shaking thunder that comes from all sides at once. It vibrates in your teeth. It shakes the liquid in your eyes. It is a sound you don't just hear with your ears, you feel it in the pit of your stomach, a constant, gut-churning terror. The devil in the drum is not one shell, but 10,000. He is the maestro of an orchestra of destruction, and his symphony is your annihilation. You can't think. You can't sleep. You can only crouch in your watery chalk hole, pressing your hands against your ears, knowing it is useless. The sound is inside you. And what do you crouch in? The quarries. The creutes. The land here is riddled with them, great underground caves carved out of the chalk over centuries. We took shelter in them, British and German alike. They were our salvation and our tomb. Step inside one. It is a world of ghosts. The air is thick with the smoke of cooking fires and the stink of unwashed men and latrines. The walls are not white, but a tapestry of war. Look closely. You can see them, the carvings. The initials of a French poilu who was here last year, a date, a crude drawing of a woman's face. And next to it, the eagle of a German soldier. And next to that, the broad arrow of the British Army. We were all tenants in this underground city, passing through, leaving our mark before moving on to the grave. But the devil in the drum had a special hatred for these caves. A direct hit from a heavy shell, a Minenwerfer, wouldn't just explode at the entrance. It would collapse the very roof. There was no warning. One moment, you were sharing a cigarette with a man from Cardiff, the next, you were buried under 50 tons of chalk, sealed in a communal tomb. The silence after a cave-in was more terrible than the drumfire. It was the sound of the earth itself digesting you. This was life on the Aisne. This was the existence. You did not fight men. You fought the damp that rotted your clothes off your back. You fought the rats, grown fat and bold on the plenty of the dead, who would nibble at your fingertips as you slept. You fought the lice, your chats, that crawled in your seams and drove you mad with itching. You fought the boredom, the soul-crushing monotony broken only by moments of sheer, pants-wetting terror. A man's spirit could be measured in the set of his shoulders. At first, he stood tall. Then, as the days of the drum wore on, he began to hunch, as if expecting a blow from above. Then he began to shuffle, his eyes downcast, seeing only the mud at his feet. Finally, he would get a distant look, a 1,000-yard stare. He was still breathing, but the man inside was gone. The drum had beaten him out. The devil had won. So, when you think of the Great War, do not only think of the Somme or Passchendaele. Remember the Aisne. Remember the chalk and the water. Remember the men who lived in the ghosts' quarries, listening for the devil in the drum. They weren't just fighting an enemy across a field. They were fighting the very earth beneath them, an earth that was always, always listening, and always, always hungry.